Hi Cancer, I hope that you're all doing well. We are here with your reading, what you need to know for February. The first cards that we have out are Six of Pentacles and the World. I actually get the sense that if something here is being accomplished that you feel satisfied with, you see this person's face? That looks like satisfaction to me. When we have Six of Pentacles, this is going to be about something that you're involved in where there is a desire for things to be sustainable, for it to be compatible. And so having the World, there can be this feeling of satisfaction with something. It will be like, let's say, for example, Six of Pentacles can be a relationship where you're showing up and you feel like the way the other person is showing up, you guys are working really well together and you guys are meeting each other's needs and that you're receptive to one another and that it feels good, it feels sustainable the way that it is, like everybody feels happy with things. This can be a work situation where you're like, wow, I love what I'm doing and I'm getting paid really well for what I'm doing. It can be something where you put energy in and whatever it is that you get back, it can really be something that can allow that cycle to continue. And having the World here, I'd say that this is actually something that you've worked for this, you've worked to make this sustainable, you've worked to get the balance right here and worked hard as well. When we have the World, this is connected with Saturn. Saturn requires responsibility. It requires effort. It puts you in situations where it's difficult to make these things happen. Nonetheless, with the World here, you can be like, wow, I put in all of this work and it really did pay off. And now something can stand on its own. And so you can feel a deep feeling of satisfaction and even completion and accomplishment that you feel with this and what you have achieved. This will feel, it's a very rewarding feeling that I'm getting. And this is going to be like right off the bat in February. Got some stuff on your mind as well. I'm seeing some news that's inbound. Something coming your way. This can be an important conversation. It can be information. I feel like you're waiting on this. Whatever that is, it's going to be happening. It's going to be centered around air energy, so it will be communication of some sort. Communication, information, that type of thing. Anxiously awaiting the arrival. Whatever this is connected to, it feels like there's a chapter that is ending. There's a process that you've been working through that's coming to an end. I'm seeing things are going to change after this point. I'm seeing a lot of emotional work that you've been doing, like a lot of stuff that you've been going through that it hasn't been easy to go through it, and yet you can feel like you've grown a lot through these experiences that you've been having, and you're definitely going to be reaping the rewards of that come February. I feel like this opens doors for expansion as well for you too. Like you can feel like you're really growing, like you're becoming more grounded, more rooted, that you can feel more level, more stable. You can be like feeling connected with yourself, feeling connected with the world, feeling tuned in, you know, like very much in your natural state, and feel like you're being present to that. Okay. That being said, there's a discussion about the future that's coming up in February. This feels like discussion now about things that are going to be happening later on, and you can also be waiting for some news or information that you need that's going to be connected with future stuff. So even though it may not be immediately applicable, at the same time, this is something that it feels like it can be helping you form a plan or a concept of what's going to be happening later on, and you can just be thinking about the future and next steps and what's going to be happening, that being on your mind a lot. So a lot about where you're going. And it can be figuring out too what to do in order to do that as well, like what steps to take in order to have that happen. There can be something that you're going for that feels very focused on progress as well. Wow. Okay, having Three of Wands and having Six of Cups is an interesting thing to see together, because Three of Wands can indicate future, Six of Cups can indicate past, and so it feels like something's actually coming together. This can also be something like at that point in time, I'm gonna like go back and visit this place that I've been to before, or I'm going to visit like a childhood home, or I'm gonna see that friend that I haven't seen in a long time. Some of you too, you can be hearing from somebody that this is not a new person, this is somebody that you know, but you may not be in contact all the time with them, or you may not have heard from them for a while. This is somebody that's coming in. They may want to make something right as well. That can be something that's happening. It's going to have you thinking on the past and thinking about situations. Even if this maybe is, I don't know what exactly the situation was with you in this situation, but seeing that Six of Cups here, I feel like this is indicating that regardless of what's happening now, in the future, what's going to be happening is that things will get to a place where it feels good. So even if this situation doesn't feel good now, meaning there can be a situation that's happening between you and another person, what's going to be happening in the future is that it looks like there's going to be progress that's made, meaning like there can be a conversation that you have with this person and it like brings things back into a good place. It's like it's going to feel the way that it used to feel with them, I'm getting. So even though the conversation can be happening in February, or you can be thinking a lot about this in February and it doesn't feel the way that it used to, this is going to be the beginning of it eventually getting to that place where it's going to feel the way that it used to, and it will be in a good way. It will be in a desirable way. This isn't like a regressive thing. I'm seeing this be more so like things that I used to enjoy and like about this, that's going to be coming back. Like the connection that I felt and the sweetness that I felt and the joy that I felt, that is something that's going to be coming back. Yeah. And it feels like it's going to allow something that's been challenging to come to an end as well. Like this can be a like kind of an anxious time that you've been going through, or just maybe a situation that you haven't been feeling great about. It's like finally going to be coming to an end, and you can feel like you're ready for that now at this point. I don't like this can be something where like it can feel painful having to go through this, or it can be something where you feel like it's really changed you going through this process. I am seeing that things are going to be made right. This is going to feel significant to you, and know that this is setting things up to come back to being the way that they used to be when it was enjoyed. You can feel too like there's been some growing up emotionally that you've been doing as well. And that you've been learning more about relationships. Okay, there can be the word confusement, there can be confusion about this situation that you've been feeling. Like maybe it can be confusing, or it can be sort of like emotions all over the place, or it can be mixed feelings about things, but I'm seeing it all focused on this situation. So it can be like, it feels like an interpersonal situation that's going on. Like, I don't know if it's with one people, I don't know if it's with multiple people, but whatever it is, I'm seeing like not feeling like things are settled, not feeling great about this either. And you could have even been concerned with where things were gonna go, but then it feels like, I feel like it's going to be different than you thought it was going to be, and also that it's going to be better, because this feels like it's going to allow you to finally release something closes out and then it allows you to release it. But I think too that going through this process is something that really can teach you things having to do with relationships and with reciprocity, meaning before maybe you were in, when you were in a situation and you were like, I'm showing up and doing what I'm supposed to do, like why aren't they happy with this? And you can be learning, like maybe I wasn't fully showing up, and I've really grown through this situation to see like where I can show up in a way that I feel proud of and that I feel like I'm contributing to the relationship, and then able to have the benefits of that and the love and the connection, and like I'm able to show somebody how I care, and I'm learning how to express that. This can also be two things that you're learning about relationships and values, where it's like maybe before you thought relationships worked one way and you're learning something else about it. Maybe you're learning more about your values. You can be learning more about what you care about. You can be learning more about what your needs are. You can be learning more about expressing your boundaries, expressing what you're able to do, what you're not able to do. All of it feels like being able to be present and participate in a way that maybe you hadn't been before. And there can be some difficult situation you've been going through that's where you've been learning about this, and at the same time you can feel like you've really grown a lot going through this as well. And I think too that it's going to be something where like you're going to be able to release this fully. It's not going to be something that stays with you. So instead of being like, I have to drag this situation, carry it around with me, and it's just this unintegrated painful thing, I'm seeing that you're going to be releasing this. By the end of February, this is something that you're going to be releasing or beginning to fully release. I think too that this is one of those times where you could have felt like there was one standpoint going through it and it was yours, and as you move through this process you can be recognizing that it's not just your perspective, and your perspective can really change going through this as well, where you could have been before going through this process feeling like you had the only right perspective within this, or like yours was the only true perspective. And what you can be learning is that that may not be the case in this. And it can, not to say like anybody's wrong or right, but it can be something you go through where you're like, there can be other valid perspectives as well. And that's how you're learning about relationships and learning about the things that you're connected with, and emotionally being connected with things, and also how you work functionally on an emotional standpoint, like coming from a place of feeling, also how other people work from a place of their mental, intellectual energy, also understanding more about that part of yourself. And you can be learning more about the way that your head and your heart work when they're working on the same page with one another, and also when they're not on the same page with one another. Feel like there really is going to be a sense of relief when this situation comes to a close. And it feels too like it's going to allow things to make sense that maybe hadn't really been making sense about this as well. And I'm seeing by the end of February, I think you're like gaining some confidence back as well, where you can just be feeling better about yourself. You can feel better about things, and you can feel like you're just more aware and more in tune with what's been going on. So I'm seeing that be the big thing here. I feel like there may be like one other person that's playing a pretty big role in what's going on here. That doesn't mean that you're not going to have other stuff that's popping up, but I'm seeing like one main relationship that seems like there's a pretty big focus on it. And it feels like problem solving is connected with this, because this is something that you can still not be feeling great about, and it's going to allow the situation to close out where you can finally let go of it, finally it's letting go of the pain. It's letting go of that heaviness. It's this. I'm not saying you're going to be like not dealing with this anymore. It's more so like the pain of that situation is going to be over, the difficulty, the challenges of that. This is something that's going to be released. And I think that it has to do too with like something that has happened where you're going to be able to actually release it with love, what has happened. So you're not walking around being like, they did this and they did that. You know, it's going to be, or even I did this, I did that. It's going to be a time where you're letting that go because it's in the past, and that things are going to be able to move forward then. That can mean too that if somebody is coming to mind a lot and you feel like the situation with them, it just, you keep being reminded of it, that this is the person that you and them, something's going to be happening in the future. And I really am seeing that things are going to come back together. They will feel the way that they used to when things were good with you and them. And it feels like you don't have to be in that weird space with them anymore, which you've been. Like, you guys can be in a strange place with one another. That's not going to be the case anymore. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.